Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 2, Episode 9, titled The Kraang Conspiracy. This episode was yet another good episode. After coming back from the break last week, we got, the Casey Jones based episode. So now he's with the Turtles, and, I'm sure we'll get him in some future episodes interacting with the Turtles now that he's kind of, in the fold. But this episode, it was all about the Turtles and April, and it was mostly about April. She was, of course, like the main catalyst of this episode, and it really went back to what the Krang are really trying to do, which is terraform Earth so that they can live here, basically. And what they need to do is capture April. And what we find out in this episode, is why they need April and why she's so special. What exactly is it about her DNA that makes her, the key to basically, fixing the mutagen and terraforming Earth. And in this episode, not only do we find that out, we find out, or we get to see her progression. She's kind of gotten past the dojo stage, so now, at the beginning of the episode, she's with the turtles. And I was hoping it was going to be Casey because I thought they were just going to be, fighting crime or something. But, like I said, we'll get him in some future episodes. And what I did like about this episode was that it wasn't one of those episodes like they do in shows where, it's clearly defined within the episode, like, oh, it's been days, but they never show this certain person. Like, I kind of hate that. It drives me nuts a little. But it all takes place in one night. They go through, they're running around. April's trying to keep up with the turtle. She's trying to become a ninja, and she gets one of her basically telekinetic senses that, or telepathic senses I should say, that someone is watching them. And when they find out who this guy is, they find out he's actually been searching for them for quite some time, or at least he's been following them for quite some time, and he knows a lot about the Krang as well, such as the fact that they have been on Earth for thousands of years, trying to change the planet and trying to find a specific strand of DNA to actually fix the mutagen so that it does work on Earth. One of the funny things about that was he had a picture of them, like, or it was like a drawing really, of one of the Krang as pilgrims, and it was the exact same face that they still use now. And I thought, like, that, I just thought that was really funny. Like, don't they change anything? But the Krang find this guy, and they find out he's working with the turtles. The turtles chase them down. Then they find out hey, we have to go back to TCRI because they've rebuilt it. And what I enjoyed about this episode, for one, we got a new character coming in. I can't think of his name, of course, but he was initially like, when the part where they show his card, he was kind of like a private investigator of paranormal things, and then he really stumbled onto something that was really serious, which was, of course, the turtles and the Krang, mutants. So he lets them know, hey, you have to go back to TCRI. They go in, and things just get crazy. They have a good fight. They have some great story. We get to see that the Krang have really upgraded some of their technology, like the fact that they have April clones. I thought that they had just made like an April robot, and I thought they're just getting really, really good, because I thought the reporter that they found, for like a split second, I thought, what if he was a robot that they made? Because they're just getting really good at building actual robots and using technology. But at the same time, or right after that, I thought, well, it wouldn't make any sense to have all this weird story where he's like, yeah, I've been taking pictures of you guys for months and stuff, because that's just not what the Krang do. They just have a ton of numbers and weapons, and they just attack the turtles. That's kind of what they do. So it seemed really weird that that would even be, a story that they would make up. And then, obviously that wasn't the case, and it made a lot more sense that way. But I'm glad we got him as a character. And then, like I said, we find out they are making clones of April, and they have all these different clones, and she's obviously really strong. They like basically put in, if April had already mastered martial arts, that's what her clones are like. And when they get defeated, they kind of like burst into ink, which I'm still curious about. I wonder if they'll actually explain why that is. What about the DNA makes them just explode when they die? But they're really strong. They all, of course, look like April. They're exactly the same. They've kind of perfected it, and we got to see what happens when they didn't. When they had like the April derp attack the turtles, and she had like a tiny April head, and then like a really big deformed head, and she even had like a mouth on her back, which was really gross to me. But she's attacking the turtles, and Raph has to go save April, and April ends up saving herself and everyone else when she basically has like sort of a psychic blast, and it takes all the Krang out, and destroys the Derp clone. And it was really cool. In this episode they were kind of showing it off, and it did lead up to a big reveal at the end, which was the fact that not only was April's mother taken by the Krang when she was young and experimented on, but the reason April is telekinetic or telepathic, I keep saying telekinetic, but the reason she's telepathic is because that she's actually a mutant. And this whole episode was April dealing with struggles, particularly being a good ninja. And over and over again she's like struggling to keep up with the turtles, struggling to fight like the turtles fight. She has her fan, which she hasn't exactly mastered yet, and it'll be cool to see her grow. But now she has this really big burden over her head where she's not even human. She is a mutant just like the turtles, although obviously she looks human. But that burden was just the end of the episode, and they just hit her with it because of course they were all hit with it really. And now she's gonna have to deal with that, the fact that she's not just a random human who's like suddenly I have powers, or for some reason I can sense this or sense that. She's a mutant who has telepathic powers. So I'm really excited to see how that kind of changes up the show, and how April as a character changes. And I feel like because it'll be such a big struggle for her, in addition to her dealing with trying to keep up with the turtles, I think it'll give us an actual like a really good episode between April and Splinter, because I feel like he'd be the best person that she could possibly talk to. And they had an episode, when he kind of revealed the stuff about his daughter. I thought that was a good episode, and I feel like we might have another good episode where it really focuses on April and her struggle, and she kind of goes to Splinter and he gives some amazing Splinter like advice. But I think that would just be a cool episode, just because Splinter's a great character, and I enjoy seeing them together because I think April's the most calm out of all the characters, and because she's human, so she just has that normal human aspect look at things, just like Splinter does, because in this version he was a human who was turned to the rat. So I feel like they have kind of the best connection in the show when it comes to just one-on-one characters interacting with each other, outside of maybe like Leo and Raph, but that's just because I like watching them fight, because it's always really good to see them struggle with each other. But overall, I thought it was a great episode. Favorite action scene in this was definitely when they fought in the apartment, just because it was such an enclosed area. I always like close quarters combat, and they did like a ton of flips and spins and stuff in like the first 10 minutes of this episode. And I think they did that a lot just to show off how slow April was, which I always thought was funny. Like when they all kind of like jumped and they were spinning and rolling into the apartment, and then she kind of just like climbed through the window over the radiator, and it's like 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 the slow fat ninja or something. But great episode overall. Cannot wait for the next episode. I don't know if it'll focus on April, and I'm sure it will. Hopefully it does, because I hate when they have like really big moments and then kind of switch to something else. But I think they're gonna at least focus on it for a little bit of the episode, even if it's not the main point of the episode. I think it'll be really great. But comment below, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Favorite parts, least favorite parts. And with April officially being a mutant now, where do you guys think that's gonna take the show? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.